Hello and welcome to the video on symbolism, an overview and examples. So symbolism, what is it? Symbolism is a stylistic technique that involves the use of symbols to express ideas, emotions, and states of mind. A symbol is something that stands for something else. It is the use of a concrete object that is used to represent an abstract idea. The meaning of a symbol is a representation of something deeper than the superficial meaning of the image. You use symbols to represent things in everyday life, whether it's your horoscope, recycling, the restrooms, or something you're not supposed to do, like a no smoking sign. You also use symbols to convey emotions, whether it's peace, love, friendship, joy, sadness, frustration. Let's do some symbolism practice. What do these images symbolize? Sports, teamwork, hobbies, or fashion styles? What do these images symbolize? Sports, hunger, food, or companionship? Variety is the spice of life. You can find symbols everywhere, in colors, animals, objects, nature, setting or location, human body parts, general symbols, directions, north, south, east, and west, religious symbols or Christian symbols, clothing, agriculture, the weather, whether it's raining or snowy outside or really bright and sunny, the seasons, fall, spring, winter, summer, time of day, whether it's nighttime or early morning, all of these can be different types of symbolic meaning. So they mean one thing, whether it's the color blue, but they also represent something else. Let's do some practice. What do daisies symbolize in this poem? Transition, old age, death, or youth. Wild Asters by Sarah Teasdale. In the spring I asked the daisies if his words were true, and the clever, clear-eyed daisies always knew. Now the fields are brown and barren, bitter autumn blows, and all of the stupid asters, not one knows. Daisies and spring symbolize youth in the poem. What do brown and barren symbolize in this poem? Transition, old age, death, or youth? Brown and barren symbolize the transition from youth to old age. What does bitter autumn symbolize in this poem? Transition, old age, death, or youth? Bitter autumn symbolizes death. What role does symbolism play in this poem? The reader understands that the poem is about the transition from youth to old age. The symbols enhance the meaning of the poem and help readers to connect with the universal theme. What does the sunflower symbolize in this poem, Ah, Sunflower? Ah, sunflower, weary of time, who countest the steps of the sun, seeking after that sweet golden clime where the traveler's journey is done, where the youth pined away with desire, and the pale virgin shrouded in snow arise from their graves and aspire where my sunflower wishes to go. Life, a person, death, or a flower. What does the sunflower symbolize? The sunflower symbolizes a person who is bound to earth. What does the sun symbolize in this poem? Life, a person, death, or a star? The sun symbolizes life. What does the snow symbolize in this poem? Life, winter, death, or youth? Snow symbolizes death. What role does symbolism play in this poem? The reader understands that the poem is about a person who wishes to be free from the hardships of life on earth and desires, instead, the freedom and peace of eternal life. The simplicity of the symbols allows readers to interpret the author's view on complex issues like life, death, and afterlife. The function of symbolism. So what? Writers are able to add a double layer of meaning to their works. Literal, it is what it is, and figurative, a deeper, more significant meaning. Symbolism contributes to the universality of ideas and themes in a piece of literature. It invokes interest in readers. It provides insight into the author's mind, purpose, and perspective, tone, on the world as well as common objects and actions. One more note. When it comes to symbols, context matters. For example, think of a chain. So we all know what a chain is, like with links. Well, it could represent unity, connection, and strength, or bondage, oppression, and limitations. It depends on the context of the symbol for us to be able to interpret the abstract meaning. A flower. Life, growth, rebirth, and happiness, especially if we see a young flower, a happy flower, a blooming flower. It can definitely represent very positive abstract meaning. But a dreary, dying, droopy, melancholy sort of flower could represent death, sorrow, grief, and sadness. Symbolism. Analysis of the Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Let's look at a few examples. What does alchemy symbolize in The Alchemist? Alchemy involves transforming a base metal into gold. In the novel, it represents Santiago's journey to achieve his personal legend. The symbol, which also gives the novel its title, represents the realization of one's personal legend. In the novel, Santiago must eliminate his impurities, his base metal qualities, in order to realize his personal legend, transform into gold. So we really see him go from kind of selfish and immature to more experienced and worldly and mature. This is why alchemy exists, the boys said, so that everyone will search for his treasure, find it, and then want to be better than he was in his former life. Lead will play its role until the world has no further need for lead, and then lead will have to turn itself into gold. That's what alchemists do. They show that when we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too. What does the crystal symbolize in The Alchemist? The crystal represents fragility and clarity. After his journey begins with despair and loss, Santiago is tempted to give up on his quest for treasure. The crystal symbolizes the fragility of dreams. However, Santiago inevitably resolves to continue in his pursuit of his personal legend. He suddenly felt tremendously happy. He could always go back to being a shepherd. He could always become a crystal salesman again. Maybe the world had other hidden treasures, but he had a dream, and he had met with a king. That doesn't happen to just anyone. What do the hawks symbolize in The Alchemist? The symbolism of the hawks is actually pointed out in the novel. For the characters, they are symbolic of life in the empty desert. They are also symbolic of violence and aggression. Santiago sees the flight of the hawks as a warning. However, the alchemist hawk represents the taming of aggression. One could open a book to any page or look at a person's hand. One could turn a card or watch the flight of the birds. Whatever the thing observed, one could find a connection with his experience of the moment. Actually, it wasn't that those things in themselves revealed anything at all. It was just that people, looking at what was occurring around them, could find a means of penetration to the soul of the world. If you have any questions about symbolism, make sure to ask your teacher. Thanks for watching.